Okay, so we're recording live. I'm here with Alexis. And how do you say your last name, Alexis?
Hi, Constantinou. Yeah, for
Constant.
years I didn't say it right myself. Constantinou.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I have an Italian family name of Verdicchio. Even though I'm Emery Pace Archer, my family name is Verdicchio. So I know all about helping people pronounce. So thank you.
Okay, so we have the Mediterranean thing in common as well as everything else.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
We were just talking about having things in common and connecting as healers and how important it is, in an astrology tribe, but in any tribe, to be able to, connect on the points that we connect with and to be able to have a healing journey be a conversation, not somebody talking at you or telling you what to do. And I'm so glad to have Alexis here today so we can just talk a little bit about what each of us does and open up the healing conversation for other people too.
It's great to be with you and great to connect in this way and include other people. So thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are and what you're up to.
Well, I'm in London in the UK. I am from Greek Cypriot heritage, but I was born and raised here in the UK. I'm a singer and a holistic empowerment coach, as well as a singing teacher. And I do psychic readings as well. And I'm a Heal Your Life workshop leader. So I have a few sort of strings to my bow that I try to, I don't like the word try, and I just used it. I aim to utilize them all. So yeah, that's me. There's a few things I do.
I love it.
I run a group as well.
Oh, cool. What's your group?
Yeah, so, well, before the whole lockdown thing, it was in person, as well as working with essential oils and teaching different sort of healing modalities. In the group, I co-host it with a shaman. And it's a manifestation group, working very much with the law of attraction and creating a safe space for people to sort of be themselves and work on manifesting their goals and bringing their issues that we can transform into something beautiful.
Yes.
So and I have guest speakers on the group as well, and it's very international. There are people from all over the world on the group. So tomorrow, the next group will be a doctor of psychology specializing in love, sex, and relationships. So it's all very sort of eclectic. It's not one thing,
Yes. That's so awesome.
Keeps it fresh and exciting.
Yeah, I love, there's always these different cultural shifts and business shifts and, even healers have experienced these shifts, but it's like there's this idea of you're just this focalized person that only does this one thing and you're the expert in your field and, oh, I need to go to this expert astrologer or I need to go to an expert doctor. And really it's like, I feel this general shift, in myself and in others I meet like you, or you were saying you had many strings in your bow to aim with. And it's like you're experiencing your aura and your energy and your healing power through different modalities, and to limit it to just one would almost be like a sacrifice, or it'd be like a waste of all of this energy that you could present in different ways. Some of the people I work with might really resonate with astrology, and some might resonate with hands-on energetic healing, and some just want to do music, but there can be a healing that happens when we do music, as you know. And I have other friends that are vocal coach, but also life coach, because singing and having something come out of our body with our voice that is natural and expressive has a lot to do with our psychology and where we are in our healing journey and our transformation. And so I love that you pair those together.
It's so true. And you put it beautifully, because we are multidimensional beings, Emery. And, thank you for recognizing that. And that's absolutely, I think, the new energy that we're moving into. And I remember you brought to mind a moment from my past where I used to run singing workshops in the Royal Hospital for Neurodisability, working with people that were severely brain damaged, and how singing can help people connect their left and right brains And, you know, the power of sound, as you know, is just transformative and magical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's so important to not view ourselves as limited beings and to not also feel like, well, this tribe only does this, and there's all these factions and division. And I just think we're moving towards a more global unification if we're going to survive, which I hope we do, but really unifying and finding the connections. And I love that about astrology too. The way that I practice astrology is not like, well, it says this Mars placement and this Pluto is going to be violent for you, or it's going to be difficult, or it's going to suck. It's more like, hey, there's a challenge presented here with this energy, and the energy might feel violent to you, but you have a choice as to how you're going to harness that. Like, do you need to go chop wood, or do you need to like scream at your father, or what do you need to do to get this expression out? And music and dance and art and therapy and babies and children and just all these things that we create and are able to express within the world, to me, are so related. And there's never really any clients I see or friends that I have where it's just one level or one activity. All these things synergize so that we can heal and be healed and be on our journey.
Absolutely. And that whole cosmic energy that you're bringing in with the astrology is very much resonating with me, because I spent a lot of years in an organization called the Ethereal Society, which is where I learned psychic development. And the society was set up by a master of yoga who was a channeler and ET contactee.
Wow.
But for many years, yeah, it's deep stuff. For many years, he practiced yoga intensely, and you know, through his life, he was a remote viewer, and he had many different, again, strings to his bow, shall we say. Yeah. But he was instructed to found the Ethereal Society, which is kind of where I found my path into psychic development and working with the cosmos,
yes,
if you like.
Absolutely. So tell everyone, I know we have people in our astrology group and just that follow my page and others that are maybe star seeds and identify with some of that language and being. And I know we have psychic energy people, intuitives, healers. So just speak to us about what kind of services you do and how you're working with your healing, so that if someone wants to connect with you or someone wants to learn about your journey, they can.
Sure. Well, the healing work that I do was developed by Dr. King. I mean, I trained in his modality, and it's called the King technique. And it's not Reiki, it's chakra-based healing, energy transference. But I in my coaching and in my singing work, in the singing tuition, I feel sort of very tuned into the person, and I feel as if I know what they need. Mm-hmm. So I utilize those skills in whatever I'm doing to tune in to who I'm working with, and I ask for guidance as to what that soul needs for their highest good and for their development.
Absolutely.
So there are a number of things that I do.
Yes, that's so cool.
Wherever I'm called.
Yes, I love it. And I love not being afraid of integrating all the parts of you or the different things that you do. You know, like I trained in the Usui Reiki tradition, but I also learned from a psychic healer and a shaman. And so I didn't just sort of,
oh, wow.
I don't know, the idea of, I was just talking to a client earlier about doing something in a box, and it's all packaged, and here's your little Reiki box, and here's your little music box. Like, I did that, and it so doesn't resonate with my soul and with really connecting with someone, having to be in a certain channel for a different activity. It's like we are all of these things. And so when I do Reiki practice, it's definitely from a shamanic perspective and from journeying and utilizing music that will be intuitive and for the session, and chakra, like you were saying, chakra alignment, and we do extraction and soul retrieval and all kinds of different things, because these things come up. You don't just help someone heal and then say, sorry, I can only do this thing over here, you'll have to go to the next. It's like there's all these things we can do, especially when we're open to it and trusting, in the universal energy that's
Absolutely.
connecting all of us.
Yes, and I also think that there are guides that come in and help us, because I think part of the healer's journey is to be kind of, maybe not everybody, but some are wounded in their journey to becoming healers. And, who heals the healer, right? But
Right.
I feel that there are sort of teams that come in when necessary, your guides, and your guides can change according to the work that you're doing. So, I think part of the journey to becoming a healer or a healing facilitator, I don't like using the word healer. I kind of hesitate because I never feel that it's me. I just kind of offer myself as a channel for that.
Right.
And I don't always, it doesn't always sit comfortably for me to say that I am a healer, because I'm aware that it's not me. I'm just allowing myself to be that channel for that healing energy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way, hopefully.
Exactly. I think it's something that a lot of people on the spiritual path can easily fall into, that kind of egoic trap, which can wreak havoc with your psyche, you know?
Yes.
So I'm kind of aware of that.
That's awesome to hear. And it's great to point it out, because I think even if you feel that way, it's nice for other people to know that you feel that way. I feel the same way. There's an energy and an inspiration that comes through me. I get to be the recipient of that, or the facilitator, or I get to shoot the arrow. But it definitely doesn't, I think that egoic trap is really important. And for people that are healers, or for people that are looking for healing, to know that we're we're not medical doctors, we're not healers, but we have this, it's like a gift to connect you to your gift, is how I feel about it. It's like you have this energy and you can self heal. And when you see an astrologer or healer or any modality, it's sort of like, and this is how the Montessori philosophy is with teaching kids as well. It's not like the teacher delivering the information to the child who listens. It's sort of like there's this cosmic task that this soul needs to do, which is how I feel about people. And I'm just sort of able to make you aware of it, or help you find it, or see it in yourself, and then you get to do the healing. And I completely align with you on that.
I want to offer the other side of the coin as well, and to just say that it's also easy to have a sense of disempowerment. And I just want to say that we are divine beings, and stepping into the fullness of the majesty of that power is something that we're all on the path of. And hopefully we can catch up with that greatness and allow ourselves to be the most magnificent version of ourselves. That's the journey that I feel that I'm heading towards all the time, and I want to be in that space, and hopefully I help others to be in that space.
Absolutely. I love that you.
So I wanted to just offer that.
Yes, we all need that too. It's such a balance. I mean, life, I love that about astrology. You'll often read about, one sign or the other being opposites, or like there's this teeter totter that we're sort of trying to balance out the shift. And I love for people to understand the continuum and the continuum of energy. And so, like you were saying, I don't have to just be a channel. I can also be a divine being that has something to offer inherently and intrinsically within myself, and to honor that part of myself as well. It's like, that's important too. It's that balance between bravery and humility. And I love that. Thank
Absolutely.
you for bringing that up.
Yeah, beautifully put. The balance between bravery and humility. And during my singing lessons, I often tell people to visualize themselves wearing the cloak of magnificence, where they allow themselves to be the most fabulous version of themselves that they can be, where nobody judges them and they are just the most perfect version of themselves. And I wish we could all be in that childlike state all of the time. Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Yes, that would be absolutely wonderful. I agree. To be seen, to be truly seen and unconditionally loved, no matter what's there for ourselves and for others.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, as a musician, you probably resonate with this idea is that, you know, we always have that fear of performing, that, oh, are we going to be good enough? You know, how are we going to be judged? How will the audience receive us? But if we can really surrender into the process and just allow it to be, then that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely. Surrendering to the process. I read this cool quote. The humility versus bravery isn't mine, by the way. It's this workshop I just recently did with a UK astrologer, Mark Jones, who's a psychotherapist and astrologer combined. And he's doing some work on this aspect called the quincunx, which is a crisis of the soul. And how do we work out spirit and soul and journey and completely transform and still honor? And he uses that sort of dichotomy. And I've been...
How do you spell that?
Mark Jones or the quincunx?
The quincunx. Yeah. How do you spell that?
Quincunx.
Yeah.
It's really cool if you look it up.
Okay,
you
that's
can
an
find it
unusual word.
in sacred geometry, where they crafted temples to this certain dimension and requirement. And then a lot of astrologers will also call it the in conjunct. Which I don't use just because the in prefix to me is automatically negative. And so I'm like, nope. Quincunx.
Well, it's very interesting that you should mention sacred geometry, because I bought this be with me while we were talking. I felt drawn to bring some sacred geometry.
That's awesome.
So very synchronous of you to mention that.
Yes, absolutely. It's a real thing. And, you know, it's such a beautiful expression of energy, and you find it so much in nature. And that's, of course, why we humans have, you know, imitated it and tried to harness it as well, just like we harness the energy of the stars. And so I very much, you mentioned essential oils, and there's sacred geometry and crystals, and there's a lot of different ways that we can start to express and harness and utilize what's right in front of us, right in our backyard. And that's one of them. So
absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned the essential oils, because, you know, it's a gift that keeps on giving. Just the learning is so immense, you know, working with the fairy kingdom, you know, nature's gifts. All of these flowers have healing properties, all of the trees, all of the shrubs, you know, there are so many different vibrations that we can tap into with the healing. You know, if it's not sound, then it's a plant. If it's, you know, that it's all available to us if we can just tune into it.
Absolutely. I love it. I also am a fan of essential oils, and I use the Bach flower remedies before I ever used just individual essential oils and started combining them. And I'm sure I realized it was essential oils, but, you know, it's sort of like that flower remedy was like, it's like homeopathy too, right? Where you're triggering a memory of the body and the soul to say, hey, wait, remember you're sacred, and remember that you're blessed, and remember that you're healed and whole. And those oils and scents and plants, and it's like when we go to the beach, we can be having the worst year, it's COVID, we could go to the beach, completely have a body shift, a mind shift, a spiritual shift, because all of these things are healing. And so, yeah, I definitely am a big fan of that as well.
Absolutely. Well, we are vibrational beings. So when we use these vibrational medicines, it reminds us on a cellular level and on a spiritual level that we are vibrational beings. And somehow those of us that are sensitive to those energies can tune into the healing frequencies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah. You're reminding me. Thank you.
No, I love it. And I love, you know, the essential oils business, quote unquote, in the world has grown enough that as just a person exploring your healing for the first time or exploring different modalities, you really can just order a high quality essential oil and try it yourself and see how it feels to you. And there's lots of groups and people who are there to assist. And it's so empowering too, just to rid the body, the idea of ridding the body of toxins. I'm a cancer survivor. And so I maybe did a little bit of a 180 from the way that I was treating my body and my health after that, mostly because I was scared of dying. But whatever it takes, I had a Pluto transit, and that's very Plutonian to have the amount of pressure needed for you to transform or to be traumatized, right? Because I could have taken another route and been
Wow.
scared and afraid my whole rest of my life, but you know, embracing it and finding new modalities of cleaning and deodorant and all the toxins that we were faced with.
Wow.
And if I am a channel or if I am divine, then allowing more of that divinity to shine through and allowing more energy to be able to be present in me in a way that's healing is really important. So it's all kind of related in that way. And those, you know, essential oils heal, all of this stuff is sort of related. And so I love being able to harness it for yourself. And I feel like that's one thing where crystals and essential oils and nature are things, sacred geometry, those are things people can just go grab and try and start working with them. And I love that idea of being able to do it yourself.
Absolutely. What a beautiful breakthrough
Yeah.
journey that you've been on. Wow.
A very painful one nonetheless.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. I was going to ask you, do you resonate with a particular essential oil more than others? Do you have a favorite?
I do. And I'm not a big fan of the multi-level marketing type things. And so I've tried different companies and such. And so just disclaimer, I'm not here to advertise for anybody. But the
Sure.
Blue Tansy blends that they have, there's one that...
Oh, yes.
There's a company we've used called Revive, which is very affordable out of California. And then I have some friends that do doTERRA and Young Living. And
I do doTERRA. Yeah.
Yeah. The Blue Tansy blends are like, that was life changing as far as, I don't know, summoning up my courage within me.
Oh, wow.
You know, like, I don't know. And it's not a scent I would normally pick, but not one that's adversive to me.
It's a very unusual scent, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was the other one, sorry?
Blue spruce, hands down.
Oh, wow. I've not experienced blue spruce, but I've recently come across black spruce, which I'm completely in love with.
Yes.
And, you know, I just love it so much, you know, and I particularly love frankincense, but I think black spruce is just my new absolute favorite. It's got such a tranquil and high vibe energy about it. But it's interesting that you mentioned Blue Tansy, because throughout my life I've suffered with skin problems, various skin problems. And Blue Tansy is one of the ones which I recently discovered has been helping my skin, and it's known for its sort of skin healing properties. Yeah. So it's interesting that you mentioned those, and the spruce family.
The spruce family,
very healing.
Sure. I think I looked up vibration too, and the reason I tried blue spruce was there can be versions of it that are a very high vibration, and so I love juniper. I'm a Sagittarius, so juniper and frankincense and the Blue Tansy are like my boys. I go to them. I love them, or I combine them. But when I tried the blue spruce, it's definitely a higher level meditation oil for me. And when I'm really struggling at night, I will diffuse it with frankincense and Blue Tansy together. And it's sort of like a whole shift can happen overnight as I do that.
Yes, that's when I use them too, when I sleep. Yeah, it's interesting. We have that in common. And I didn't even know that blue spruce existed until yesterday. So again, another synchronicity that you've brought it up today in our conversation, because I was just reading about it yesterday. How fascinating.
It's hard to get. So not every company has it, and it's hard to get. So you got to know somebody, I think, to get some good blue spruce.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to smell the blue spruce, because I've only experienced the black, which is, the one I love.
It's divine. It's really nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a kind of vision when I first smelt the black spruce, and it was almost as if I kind of connected with a Native American family, and I could hear them dancing and singing. it was quite profound,
Wow.
the vision that I had, just connecting to that scent. It was
Yeah.
quite
And now I
amazing.
have to get some black spruce too.
Right? Yeah. So, and then I later read that the Native Americans would use that plant. So perhaps I was sort of connecting with the ancestral energies of the usage of that plant,
Yes, absolutely. That's
So it was quite
absolutely,
interesting.
it is.
There are
Awesome.
so many different vibrations that are
Yeah.
floating around on the cosmos, and those opportunities to tune into it,
Yeah. I'm wondering, since you're a musician, I have to ask you if you have heard or read or experienced or used anything with the 432 hertz tuning, or just any alternative tuning sounds in
Yes.
your healing.
Yes. The solfeggio frequencies are something that I use when I meditate. So, just on YouTube, nothing fancy.
Right.
But I like to listen to all of them all together, all of the solfeggio frequencies. But I've been experimenting with different ones, different frequencies, and how they make me feel. And it does work. I don't know that much about the different frequencies and how they affect the human system, but just from meditating with those sounds, I found that it really does help to connect with feelings of peace and trauma release and very, very deep healing. That's been my experience. What's been your experience with that frequency particularly?
Yes, I think there's the solfeggios. I've used all of them and worked with all of them, not extensively, but mostly in my private meditation practice. And then in addition, when I have an energy healing session, um, I found this little player too that will adjust any music that you have to that frequency. So let's say I've got a recording of, Nako and Medicine for the People. I can adjust them to 432 or to 528. And that's been really cool.
Wow.
I've found that I'm somebody who's on the autism spectrum. So I'm Asperger's, high functioning autism, but whatever technical we want to call it. But I found for me personally, and I don't know if it's related to that, that's why I mention it, that there's definitely a different level of calm and operation in the world as I'm listening to music when it's a different resonancy rather than the 440 or the 444 even.
Oh.
But for me, the 432 has been the most influential. And when I tune my instrument to that, or the music that I love to that, there's a different opening in my brain waves for me to be able to, to operate and to function. And I tried to read up on it and research it and read all of this stuff about World War II and Hitler and how the frequencies used to be lower on string instruments. And then he bumped them up and it sort of made everyone agitated and angry. And I was like, well, that makes sense to me because there's a lot of times where just as a mama, I'm a mama bear, noise. It's like no more noise. We just need everything to be quiet. And there's certain music you can put
I
on,
hear you.
where you're just and there's a lot of music that it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't resonate with that right now.
Yes. Well, I completely understand that working with music, you're extra sensitive to sound, and there are times when you just want none. Yeah. Right, other than the ones that you choose. Yeah. Particularly when you've been working with it, right? Yeah, I get that. I wasn't really introduced to these frequencies until fairly recently when I met an American sound healer that works with the tuning forks called Andrew McElrath, who is somebody I feel that you would very much get along with. Also works with the essential oils as well.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I need to make that introduction between the two of you. I will send you his details. But yeah, he works with the tuning forks and it's very deep, very powerful. You can you can make huge changes with sound.
Absolutely.
It's unlimited.
Yeah. We have a tuning fork guy too here in Colorado in Boulder, Jonathan Goldman. Have you heard of him?
Okay. No, I haven't. I'm making a note of his name.
I'm pretty sure that's right. He has a son too, sort of carrying on his work as well, but he's got several albums, and the newest thing I think that I heard of him doing was different tuning forks that you can sort of get or have, that would be, yeah, like you would use them to align your vibration with the tuning fork.
That's exactly what he does. Yeah. But he sort of does it on an ancestral level as well, which is really deep stuff.
I know we have some
it's
people in the
powerful
group
work.
that do Akashic and Akashic healing work and deep soul journey work like that too. I love the idea of the ancestral level, and I also love the idea of exploring, you know, like the light codes and updating ancestral information in a way that it's not something I haven't explored a lot, but would be interested in too.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. I've not experienced that either, and yeah, it's something I feel very drawn to explore. I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah.
So please share the information as and when you find it.
I will. I feel like it's this global universal thing where we're getting, you know, downloads and light codes, and there's like we're upgrading kind of, you know, or we're ascending, because that sounds so, I hate to sound like spiritual cliche or something like that, but you know, we're upgrading our systems and we're upgrading our modalities and how we're able to connect. And I think that that's so important.
That's exactly what I think is going on as well. I mean, on a global level, I feel that we're all awakening.
Yes.
And at the start of this whole pandemic, I didn't see it as something to fear. I really saw it as something that was just shifting energy.
Yes.
And moving us towards where we need to be. And that's bringing up some, you know, uncomfortable shadows that we really need to process. I think that's all it is, you know.
Absolutely. I love that. I love your explanation. And if you look at it astrologically, we have these major outer planets in Capricorn, which is about empowerment. And it's about like building a structure that's going to last forever, that's going to last a lifetime. And to me, it's sort of like our structures aren't working and they're falling down, and they don't support us personally and out in the world. And Capricorn, and like you were saying, the shadow, you know, Pluto is about incorporating the shadow in a way that's transformative, like looking at how we've been in the world that isn't working, that we're butting our heads, that we're creating pain, that's unfair, and saying, hey, we're gonna change the structure. And then we move into Aquarius, which is about uniting all of humanity rebelliously if needed, revolutionizing if needed, but coming from a place of a real spiritual intelligence and a perspective that honors everyone, not just one point of view or one idea.
Beautiful. I could feel that as you were saying it. I could actually get a sense of that vision. And I was aiming to just project that vision out. And I think that's how transformation is brought about, by us holding that vision and just visioning what we want to create in the world, rather than rebelling against certain ideas. You know, just be at peace and hold the vision of what you want to create and move into that. Absolutely. It's beautiful.
Yes, I want to encourage everyone listening and anyone listening to do that, like, and how powerful that is, especially when we come together and we are all doing that, that it's not just in our minds or in our energy that stays with our body. It's the collective energy makes a huge difference.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you were part of any sort of global meditations. There was one a few months ago that I was lucky enough to be part of, and you could really feel the beautiful energy of, wow, just everybody's love and attention. That,
it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing just to be with someone in the same room meditating, or even just, you know, through COVID, we've had some remote Reiki sessions where we're sending out healing, and it's just like you and 2 or 3 or 4 other people are sending it out, but it's like the energy that I can feel just in my space while we're doing that at the same time is astronomical. And then to be able to do something
Absolutely.
global, highly, highly recommended. It's very powerful.
Well, that's a lot of what the Ethereal Society does. They're sort of like a spiritual dynamo, if you like. You know, they send out healing energy to trouble spots in the world. And Sir George King, who was the founder of the Ethereal Society, he actually even invented a battery which stores spiritual energy.
Wow.
And during times of crisis, that collected spiritual energy is released to trouble spots, and as a sort of karmic manipulation for the Mother Earth, there are several points in time every few months where they release spiritual energy into centers, specific centers of the Mother Earth, as a sort of thank you for the planet's sustenance, you know, giving us this beautiful place to live, you know. So it's really deep stuff, and I felt very privileged for being part of that, and, you know, always learning so much, and there's always more to learn.
Yep.
But channeling, yeah, it's a big subject.
It is. That's so cool if we could all do that personally and do it in bigger institutional levels and globally to build up that battery, and to know that each person, you know, that sees this and each person that feels something is a part of this, and is contributing to our collective battery, if you will, that we can charge up and send out. Wow, I love that. I just got all these cool visions of these. It's almost like, you know, not futuristic, but this different art installations that I've seen, like Meow Wolf. They have this installation in Santa Fe where the one guy's exploring different dimensions, basically, and there's this game that
Wow.
it reminded me of, where it's this cool, they call it the nether element or the null element, but there's this element that we don't know anything about as humans, and it's basically this contraption or device that holds all of that and that we can access and use. And I kind of like got that picture in my mind of the battery and how that could be used. It's really cool.
What was the name of that? The thing that holds the dimensions? What was the name of it, did you say?
No.
The nether?
Yeah, the nether, or the null, the null element. Null.
Oh, okay, wow. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it was like this. It's funny because, like, you know, like whatever, we all have to relieve stress in whatever way, but it was a game that I would play, and but that was the storyline, and I think that's what drew me in, this idea of being able to be scientists that are metaphysical and spiritual in nature, like the alchemist, you know, where we
Absolutely.
actually are combining our spirit and our soul in science. It's not just I'm spiritual, or just I'm on a soul journey, or just I'm a scientist. It's like, wait, we're all of those things. And to me, that's alchemy. And it felt very much like that, and very encouraging of the mind to create more on that front.
You made a really valid point about how, you know, everybody can do this, everybody can send out energy, and everybody has the ability to be a healer and a channel. You know, it's not just psychics or special people that have a gift. You know, we are all that. Absolutely. And all we have to do is just like raise our hands and send it out, because we've got chakras in each of our hands, and we've got our minds and our hearts that we can just beam love to any situation in the world, just through intention and through feeling love as an energy. And that's how simple it is. And for you to just say that and remind me and all of us of that, I think is so valuable.
Thank you. Maybe we could do that to maybe wrap up our session. We could send out some energy together here for a moment, and whoever joins us would be able to.
That's a beautiful idea.
Would you like to lead us?
Absolutely. Let's do that right now. Yes. Did you say, would I like to lead it? Did you say?
Yes, I'd love that.
Sure, sure. So we're requesting from the Mother Earth her violet flame of transmutation and protection. And we ask for this with humility, and we've envisaged this coming up through the soles of our feet, as high as we can possibly imagine, into the cosmos. And we give thanks for this awesome power from the beautiful Mother Earth. And we ask from above our heads a brilliant white light to come down, the light of love to come down through our heads and out through our hearts in 3 beams of light, through our hands and our heart. And we send this out to the world, to all that can receive this and anybody that needs this right now. In gratitude, we envisage the whole of creation with light and love. Thank you. And to close, we just put one palm on top of the other and seal the energy. So the sealing mudra, it's called. Thank you so much for that opportunity, Emery. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
So beautiful to be with you today.
Lovely for me as well. What a blessing.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that Roxanne connected us. Thank you.
Me too.